Right, so hey everyone, and welcome back to another budget photography video. So Canon zoom lenses, they're not cheap, let's face it, and neither are Canon L lenses. But, and it's a big but, what if we go back to EF lenses and we don't buy them from Canon, we buy them secondhand? Well, we can pick up some fabulous bargains, like this that I picked up, the Canon 300 f4. It is a beast of a lens, and there is now a plane going over, so can you just give me a minute? We'll just wait for that to go over. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, the EF 300mm f4. Now, it's 300mm, it's an f4, which is not actually too bad really, considering the fact that it is 300mm. And yes, okay, f4 is still, you know, pretty dark, but there is some good things about it, such as the weight. Now, yes, this is, don't get me wrong, this is still an incredibly heavy lens and camera, even though this is the I can't talk today, even though this is the RP. This is still a very weighty lens. And if it was something like an f2, it would be, well, it would be bigger, let's just say that. Now, it does have its problems, and the biggest one actually is its size. It is a very, very heavy lens, and it's heavier than the camera that I'm actually using for it. So I'm having to use the included tripod mount, monopod mount here. You're definitely going to want to have a monopod with this thing, or something along the lines of a monopod or a tripod, because, well, it is heavy to hold. But it is really, really nice because it is an f4 rather than an f2.8 or, I don't know, an f8 or an f11. The images look fairly decent. Photos from this are adequately sharp. Now, personally, I wouldn't recommend videoing on this, although I did just here. And now swans are attacking each other. This is the problems when you come out and film in nature. Yeah, photos look adequately sharp and well detailed. They really do. It's a really nice lens. I cannot fault this lens really on its detail and how the images look, except for one thing, and that is chromatic aberration. This has it's a bit tricky to say, really, because I wouldn't say it has a lot or a decent amount of chromatic aberration, but it is there. It is visible when you zoom in on an image, and it is really, really annoying when you do get it. Now, yes, you can fix chromatic aberration in Lightroom or editing software, but it is still a pain in the bum when you get chromatic aberration and a bird has just pooped on the floor behind the camera. Luckily, it missed by about that much. Now, because this is an f4, low light is going to suffer. You're not going to be shooting at golden hour. You're going to want to shoot at about now, around midday to early to mid-afternoon or even morning, because once the sun goes down and the moon comes out, you're not really going to be want to be out with an f4, because you're going to keep cranking that ISO. You're cranking all the way until your images just look like a grainy mess, like something you've just, I don't know, drawn dots on. It's just there. To be fair, there's not really much to actually say about said lens, apart from the fact that the images are nice. You can pick it up for between £400 to £500. It is extremely heavy, and there is some chromatic aberration. That's it. It has image stabilization, it has autofocus and manual focus knobs. It's got a focusing system here where that you can choose between 1.5 meters and 3 meters and infinity, which is confusing to me, but it's also quite nice because there's sometimes of when you don't want it to focus on things that are close by, well, within 1.5 or 3 meters. And it's really nice, and you can extend that, especially if you have a crop sensed camera or if you have a full frame camera that you can crop into by 1.62 times, which you can on most Canon mirrorless cameras. So what is there to really lose, really, to be fair? As I said, it's L glass. What more do you really need? The images look nice even today. I can't keep I feel like I'm just repeating myself now. I feel like I'm just repeating myself because it is all just really, really nice. Now, actually, I kind of lied. It does have some problems. It really does. But it kind of makes up for it because it's not the lens's fault. And here's the problem. On this camera, on this EOS RP, it has focusing issues, and the same focusing issues on the 1D Mark IV. But it doesn't have them issues on the R6, my main photography and videography camera now, because this is the burst rate of the RP. I'm just trying to get a bird here. And I mean, the focusing issues are not amazingly bad. They're not. I mean, they're not as good as it is on the RP. I'm wondering if it's, I don't know what it is. I'm wondering if it's because it uses a completely different focusing system. But then again, so does the RP in comparison to the 1D. So why does it work well on the R6, but it works terribly on the RP and the 1D? Bearing in mind the 1D Mark IV that I use is a high-speed camera and would have set someone back about £5,000–6,000 only a few years ago. So that is its main problem. I mean, it is usually able to fix its problems. It can focus fairly decent. Once it figures it out, and once it has got and realised what it's meant to be doing, it tends to fix them quite quickly. So like we've got a plane coming in now, and I'm wondering whether or not I should video or photo. I'm gonna photo it. So I'm gonna crop, because this can crop in. Cropping. There we go, so yeah, here we go. It's now struggling to focus, and I'm going to miss. There it is. So yeah, let's wait for this plane to go back over. So yeah, it does have problems with autofocus, but I've only experienced that on this camera here. Now, unfortunately, this camera here doesn't have as high a burst as that one does, which is a real shame because the burst on that is about 12, I think it's about 12 to 15 FPS in mechanical and then about 20 in electronic. Whereas this is, well, this is kind of just really annoyingly bad. I mean, it's not bad, although I do wish we could have more of a, a higher shutter speed, so 1/8000th of a second rather than 1/4000th of a second. But then again, this is really, the RP isn't really designed for this kind of thing. It's more of a beginner's full frame camera. But it's still perfectly decent. I've done a review on it. Go check it out. Go on, go. Now, one of the annoying things of this lens is this right here. And you're probably thinking, Alex, that's the rest of the lens. No, it's not. It's a lens hood, a non-removable lens hood. Now, you're probably thinking, well, it doesn't really do much. It looks a bit inappropriate. Not its biggest fan. It's nice. It's decent. It extends your lens. It makes you look more pro. It can make you look like you've got a bigger lens than you actually do. You can kind of hide away the end of it just there, and peacocking you can do. You can kind of peacock, look what I've got. But it's non-removable, meaning you either have it off like that, or you have it on and locked into place. Now, that doesn't seem too bad, but it gets in the way of your manual focus, which, you know, while yes, I wouldn't advise manually focusing a lens like this, you still might want to for some reason, and it just kind of gets in the way, which means you have to then have the lens hood on and active, but you don't always want your lens hood on. So it would just be nice if you could just, you know, remove it. And lots of photographers have actually said that they would like to be able to, and a few of them have even broken their lens in the pursuit of trying to get this lens hood removed, which is a real shame, because I'm guessing they spent a lot of money on it, because this lens back in the day when it was brand new probably would have set you back about £2,000-3,000, and you're now able to pick it up for about £400 to £500. So that is a massive win on us. But if you can get past its shortcomings, it's a really good lens for the price. I mean, as I said, it is L glass. It's an L lens, and it's a zoom lens for under £500. What are you waiting for? Although, as I did say, you do need a monopod or a tripod to mount this thing. I'm using this monopod here that I have is probably my oldest photography item that I actually have. I spent £20 on it about 4 years ago, and it's a Manfrotto one, and it's lasted me ever since. I see no need to change it. It does what I need to do. I thought about changing it, and then I just couldn't be bothered, so I didn't. But £20-30, it does, to be fair, now it does need changing. It isn't going to be doing what I need it to do, because, well, I'm probably going to be getting more and bigger lenses, because I am now getting into wildlife photography. And this was never really designed for, you know, carrying this kind of equipment. And there is another jet going over. Let's, should we see if we can get it? Let's, come on. You know, I really can't see a downside to this lens. Yes, it's heavy. Yes, it's, you know, it's only an f4. Yes, there is some chromatic aberration. Yes, it's got this, you know, inappropriate kind of thing on the front of it. But for £400 to £500, you really can't go wrong with it. And to be fair, that's all I can say. That is really all that I can say, is that it's not bad. I mean, it's not amazingly good, but it's not bad. And yes, I do recommend it. So go nuts. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining me in this video. I'll see you in the next one.